All right, so here today on the 5-Minute Bark, we're so excited. We've got Lori Stroh-Smith from Syracuse, New York, and her company's called Red Inspiring. I love it. She's a transformational coach, and we're going to be talking some good stuff here today. She loves to help people, just like all of us out there that come on the 5-Minute Bark. We're all people that love people. And Lori, why don't you share something great about yourself right now?
Oh, I'm not used to talking about myself. So this is,
that's good. See?
For me. I like to listen, and I actually, I'm used to finding out about everybody else.
So we're going to be breaking through some patterns here today. Is that what's going to happen? Yeah. All right, here we go. It's your chance to break a pattern here today. So let's hear about you. This is your chance in the whole entire world to talk about you. I love it.
All right. Something great about me. I am so the whole thing, my company is Red Inspiring, and it's health, beauty, and happiness. And what it is, it's a combined effort of all of my experiences, past 20 plus years. A woman never gives away her age.
Well, you look amazing, so don't worry.
So I was a 20-year beauty professional. And, this is over, you get into the profession just wanting to help people feel better, look better, and they feel better when they look better. And then I had my fourth child, and I took on health coaching as another help people in the field, and health changed my life, kind of brought me out of my shell and made me feel ultimately great. So I wanted to help other people do that. And then from there was born the life coaching, just through this, evolution.
I'm noticing I'm hearing that now a few times now from women that have one or more kids. It's kind of like they have to kind of reinvent themselves after they have their kids, and they're literally concerned about that, and they really get insecure. How can we help these women? How can we help them understand that, we're just human. We're just here to be ourselves and be authentic and be real, and just get over the fact that, hey, you just had 4 beautiful kids, or you had,
Yeah. It's a process, especially I had started having kids when in my 20s.
Yeah.
And I think I was definitely misinformed, not by anybody else but myself. I totally thought that when you have kids, you sacrifice everything for them. There's no more you time. There's no more nothing. It's all about them. And I kind of, when you start to not have that outside resources for yourself, you don't grow.
Right.
For yourself, and you don't, have it. You're fulfilled by your children, but nothing else.
Right.
And that kind of gets dangerous territory. So when I started taking care of myself and being more involved in self-care, I became a better mother. So it's really informing the women that they're going to be better with their cup full. They're going to be able to fill everybody else's cup, which is what their intention was in the first place. So, and, I was definitely a perfectionist. I had to get over that real quick.
I am too.
Perfection is painful.
Yeah, I know. The best way I did that was getting a dog. I mean, obviously having kids will help that too. But I mean, that's really an interesting subject, because you're right. You have to kind of, or somebody tells you, you have to dedicate yourself to your kids and you no longer matter, which is, you're right. And now we're learning that's totally the wrong thing to do, because everything I've been learning now, as I told you, I've interviewed over 105 people, is everybody is realizing that it's me. I have to be in what we call show up. We have to show up. Yeah, and if I can't show up for my kids, I can't show up in our lives, then how am I going to be a good mom? How am I going to be a good husband? How am I going to be a good, family member? Anything. We need to show up. We need to show up first, and our kids will benefit from that. Our friends and our family and our coworkers will benefit from that, because if you're there and, I guess one of my guests said a walking zombie, right? If you're a walking zombie, why even have a conversation, really, right? So tell me about, some of the things you would do for a woman to help them overcome this, so I can help my audience learn.
Well, honestly, as I just said, I'm not used to talking about myself.
Okay.
I try to listen. That's just like the main thing is to listen, and you can tell where they're at by, you're very familiar with the language that we use and how our mind takes into that. When I hear certain sentences, and then I kind of can feel around it and realize some of their challenges in court just by the way they're feeling, by their language and what they're saying to me. So it's really a listening process, and then it's digging and delving just a little bit more. And I don't know if you're familiar with my certifications, but it's strategic intervention.
Yeah.
So it's helping people help themselves in a quicker amount of time.
Yeah.
And it's by, breaking those patterns, like you said, learning where they're at and trying to figure it out. You have to understand their world first. I can't be one of those people that jumps in and said, here's what I think, and here's what you need to do. No,
Right.
It's let me find out where you're at to get you where you want to be. And that's where that transformation comes in.
Right. And is it exciting for you to see that transformation happen?
Oh, there's nothing like it, for sure.
Right. Isn't that great?
Yep.
That's amazing. I'm from the East Coast as well. I'm from Boston, and I have many friends that are from the East Coast. And if I talk to them, just like you're saying, it just kind of rang a bell in my head that, like, we don't like to talk about our self. It's kind of like one of those things that you do on the East Coast. Like, you don't brag about yourself. You don't talk about yourself. And I actually did one specific episode way back, probably about 85 episodes back, on giving and receiving as an East Coast person. It's really interesting when I did that, because I had to learn myself, like, okay, because obviously a podcast, you have to talk about yourself, and I'm just releasing a course right now called Manufacturing Celebrity Status. So you have to learn to accelerate yourself as an expert in your industry in order to get ahead of the pack. Right. So, running into that fact that, like, okay, now I got to talk about myself. Now I got to talk about myself. I don't want to talk about myself. You got to talk about yourself. Dennis, just shut up and talk about yourself. We just have this, I don't know where we get that, but it's interesting because everybody I talk to on the East Coast, like, I don't want to talk about myself. You talk about me, so it's really neat.
Well, that goes back, I think, for me anyways, my core belief was, stay humble. Right. It doesn't, when you talk about yourself, it doesn't feel as humbling.
Right.
But yes, you are correct that it's a necessary thing in this business. Not to mention, it's good for your psyche to, give yourself a pat on the back every once in a while.
Yeah, I don't know if it's maybe the church, the way we went to church when we were kids. I don't know, but like, yeah, you can't pat yourself on your back. No, you got to keep going. No, you got, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know what we were thinking or what we were taught or why we have that belief, but it's, you have to pat yourself on the back, especially when you're an entrepreneur. It's a must, because
Lord knows there's somebody always there to kind of want to go the other route.
Yeah.
Sometimes kick you a little bit. So you got to bring yourself up a lot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was up at 4 a.m. last night working. I got to pat myself on the back because, who else is going to do that?
Good job.
Not intentionally, but yeah.
Tell me, how does that work?
So all right, so I'm just trying to, there's so many different coaches and I'm talking to so many of them.
Yeah.
And what happens is, like, there's life coaches, there's transformation coaches, there's obviously trainers. What's the difference? I guess I'm asking all wrong. It's my fault. What's the difference between the coaches? Yeah.
I think so. Stop me if I'm wrong.
No. You're never
honestly,
wrong.
I feel like this is my thought process. This has been one of my weaknesses is marketing.
Yeah.
I just want to help people. That's all. I signed up to help people. And then when you find out that you have to get out there and expand and broaden yourself, and like you said, there's all of a sudden, it was like the red car. You know how when you buy a red car, this one, you think it's original, and all of a sudden they're all over the place?
Right.
That's how it was for me with coaches. I thought, oh, this is going to be original, and it's going to be unique, and I'm going to help people. And then you find out that there's coaches everywhere.
I know, they find you,
and then
right?
The marketing industry says you have to niche. You have to niche yourself. You have to call yourself something. And then it came down to, well, you can't even call yourself a life coach, because I feel like that's definitely what I am. Because I am working with you about your life. And there's so many things that go into your life, everything from your health to your relationships to your career and your kids and you.
Yeah.
So this is your life.
Yeah.
Then I think I feel, again, society informs us that we have to niche. And so that's where, I think you try some things on for size.
Right.
I tried relationship coaching for a little bit, dabbed into that, and it just wasn't for me. And for me, transformation speaks it all, because I help people become the best version of themselves within their version, not somebody else's, not what somebody else is telling them they should be or what society tells them they should be. So that's just where I kind of came up with the transformation thing. And I think that it's different for everyone. And a lot of coaches bring in their own experiences. If they've been really great and successful in a business, they're more likely to say that they're a business coach.
Right. Lori, what made you get into this? I mean, like at one point in your life, like you're like, okay, I've been helped or I've helped myself. What is that like moment or hour or like I had enough, I want to learn to do or become a coach, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, because at one point like, oh my God, I feel that I can give more, or there's like, oh my God, I just helped this person and it worked. Or somebody came up to you and said, hey, you should be a coach. You're just so amazing at this. At what point did this decision happen?
Well, for me, so as I said, health, when I, got my health in order, that kind of sparked everything. Mm-hmm. And when I had my fourth child, I joined on to be a Beachbody coach.
A Beachbody?
So it was a health coach. Yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
Health coaching for network marketing. And when the coaching worked, you got on and you supported people because the process, and it's a good process for the company where they figured if you bought or purchased a program that you'd be more likely to succeed in it if you have support. So if it worked well. But there was many times like I would run challenge groups and people would still, you tell them what they had to eat, how much exercise to do, when to do it, and it still wasn't working. It wasn't enough, and the support and even the accountability wasn't working. And I happened to be, and so just being a coach at that time made me want to be a coach because it was awesome and exciting, like you said, when the transformation came out and people were reporting that they lost weight and they felt healthy and different than there's Bart.
That's Cody. Go ahead.
Different than. It was just really exciting to feel, but then I felt the other way when it didn't work. I'm like, oh my God, how am I not helping these people? What is wrong here? And I happened to be on a training or something at one point, and the speaker had said, it's not about what they're eating. It's about what's eating them.
Right.
And from there, I became obsessed and went to work. I'm like, all right, well, what is causing it? And it all for me, again, starts with the mind. What are they thinking about? What are those limited beliefs? Where are their challenges? What are they telling them? Who else in their world is telling them that they can't do this? And why are they reaching for that food? Do you have to really get rid of some of that core challenge before that they can release weight or, not eat like that they want to in order to get their health and fitness together? So, and that's even when I picked out my training program, because there's a lot of those out there too. Mm. It was all based on, again, the real work and how the brain works, the psychotherapy and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so that's the basis of it. It just kind of set fire from there.
Yeah, because, I mean, I actually did a episode on losing 26 pounds. I lost 26 pounds for this episode just to do it. And it was just basically putting you're right. It's 100% mindset. It's not what you eat, so to speak. It's just getting your mind right to just say, I'm going to do this, period. My dad always said, he quit smoking after like 40 years. He's like, I just quit. And like most people just have such a hard time with that. They never click that gear, right? And it's how we get people to click that gear, to quit drugs, quit, eating, overeating.
To decide to. A lot of them don't decide to. First they tell themselves they can't, and then once that decision is made, and again, make it a must, because you're a Tony fan, right? So a lot of the language I'm using.
You
make it a must. And we started with weight, but as you said, so it goes on to smoking, and it goes on to relationships, and it goes on to your career. Everything starts with your brain and how you're communicating it and the language you're using to communicate. That's why I feel everything can be fixed with that.
It is. You're right. I am a big fan of that. Absolutely. You see it often? Do people within weeks pull it off, or sometimes within hours, right? I mean, depends.
Yes, it depends on the person. It depends their readiness. I'd say there's always a readiness factor. And there's some questions that you can usually ask somebody to tell their readiness. And again, talking to them and listening and seeing how ready, if that decision has been made or not, is what's going to take, how quickly it is the process.
Right.
Do people need a couple of phone calls, a month of worth of an hour phone calls? Do they need 3 months, 6 months? And I I'm also a big fan. I think that a lot of people need to go through the journey for it to be sustainable, to become a lifestyle. Because when you learn, I don't always, sometimes I give people homework where they have to do the research, because when it's ingrained more in their psyche and even your physiology, when you're doing it, you're more likely for that to become a sustainable condition versus me just saying, well, this is the way it is and that's the way it should be. No, that's just somebody else telling you the way to think. Once you learn it for yourselves and you become excited about it, then they're more likely to keep going with it. So sometimes that can take, like I see it and it happen in a year, and it's a process for a lot of people, and you just want more and more. Even myself, I have always wanted to be more and to become more of myself for myself and be that best version. So it's that constant learning. Okay, well, I've accomplished this. Well, what's next? What can I do? And so that's better, makes me feel better, and continuously so I can give back to others too.
For the last, I'll say, year and a half, I've been working on what I call my authentic self, trying to connect with that. And I'm still got a lot of work to do that. But even in this podcast here alone, and all my podcasts, my goal as the host is to get myself to connect with you, so you can then feel comfortable with me. Then you all of a sudden start sharing, and you've noticed the shift already has already happened. Now you're able to comfortably talk, and before I wasn't quite showing up, and all of a sudden, so there's a different. If you're watching this right now, this is literally what happens to us in our lives. Like, I was Space Cadet Dennis in the beginning, trying to find something to grab onto, to talk to, but I wasn't just connecting with Lori here. It happens with us everywhere we go, whether it's connecting with another human being or connecting with your goals. If you just stop, get in that space and have it allow it to kind of happen, there's a transformation that goes back and forth. And then losing weight is not a problem. Connecting with somebody, sharing love, talking about anything, all just happens like it with an open heart. And you literally can see this here, because this, obviously you saw how this conversation's changed here today, and this is how people are every day. And that's what she's really teaching here, is once you get unlocked, right, then the things happen. But if you're going to sit there and do the run-of-the-mill weight loss or the run-of-the-mill, thing that you got out there, sure, there's a lot of courses out there and they're very valuable. I offer courses and I take courses, but if you don't lock into them, like Lori's saying here today, but when you lock in, isn't it amazing?
Anything works, especially in that healthcare industry. There's so many things out there, and people will have a tendency to blame the program. And we used to always say everything works if you work it. You have to work. You have to put in the work. And again, I can give people homework of, do this affirmation and listen to this and to watch this course. If you don't do it, and especially it's got to be repeated. You have spent 20, 30, 40 years listening to the same thing inside your head. You have new things to input, and it's got to be over and over again. And if you don't put in the effort and you don't do the work, and that's why I said the readiness factor is important, because if you're not ready, you're less likely to do the work.
Exactly. If you're not ready, then you're not going to be able to get the work done. You have somebody, literally, coaches, courses, we're telling you exactly what we do. This is how I made $1 million. Here is the layout, and they're not leaving any spots out. This is how I transformed this person last week. This is how it happened. But if you're not open to it, it's not going to happen for you. So we learned a lot today. I learned a lot about myself and learned about transformation in a new way, right? I'm really excited about that. That's so awesome. Is there any way people can reach out to you or learn more about what you do? Are you global, or are you just local?
I do a lot of online work.
Okay.
My website is under construction right now, but you can find me. Social media is my life right now.
Awesome.
Facebook is huge, and again, that connection. And that's when my life really started taking off too, is surrounding myself with amazing people like yourself.
Oh, thank you.
And not being scared to reach out and say, hey, how are you?
Right.
And,
Yeah. And that's...
So I'm on Facebook.
Yeah.
Red Inspiring or Ray Strauss Smith.
Awesome. I don't know if you saw, I posted recently a chart of what happens when you meet a person, and what happens if you see on my timeline. It's really interesting how one connection turns into an amazing one, because they're going to refer somebody else and they're going to refer somebody else. And it's unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable. I pathed it all out. And yeah, if you saw it, it's really cool. And if you're out there and you're listening to the 5 Minute Bark, you can look us both up on Facebook and you can see that one good connection like this. We don't know where this is going to go, right? We don't know who you're going to refer me to, or I'm going to refer you to, or whatever. It's just amazing how that works out. So awesome. So you can find Laura Stroh Smith on Facebook, and she's amazing, as we can find out here today. And I'm going to probably spend another 20 minutes talking to her after this. So I'm lucky. I get to talk to her more than you guys do. Yeah. So, all right. So once again, everybody, this is the 5 Minute Bark, and we're so thankful that you are listening here today, and we had an amazing time. And our next episode will be coming up soon. So we'll talk to you soon. Bye, Lori. Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis.
All right. One critical thing highly successful people do is organize their goals and write them down. Success doesn't just happen to you, it's created by you. If you are ready to create a roadmap to greater success, you may want to listen to what I'm about to say. We have developed an online success platform that offers 6 critical tools for creating and implementing your success plan. If you're ready to turbocharge your personal development and success in every area of your life, it's time for you to join Team Cody Dog by visiting CodyDog.com. That's CODIEDOG.com.